Hello and welcome to The Actor and the Engineer. My name is Paul James. I'm the actor.
And my name's Josh Knapp. I'm the broadcast engineer.
Happy New Year, Josh.
Happy New Year. Yeah, we are recording right after the New Year started, so we'll see when I get this episode out.
I knew that was going to flip. I knew as soon as I said it, you're going to be like, oh, wait, but it might be the 12th or the 15th. I mean, still the New Year. No. You're allowed to say it for 30 days after, right?
No, you know what? I will definitely get this out as quick as I can because I want to talk about No Other Choice, which is coming out next week. So that will be your assignment for the next podcast. But this week we are talking about Marty Supreme, which is Josh Safdie's first movie that he's made without his brother Benny Safdie since their first two movies, Good Time and Uncut Gems. And he's made some shorts and other stuff like by himself or without his brother before, but this is him and his writing partner, Ronald Brownstein, working on something else without Benny. And Benny went off and did The Smashing Machine. Did you see that movie?
No, not yet. I will, though.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it. It was fine. It was fine.
Out of the 152 films you saw?
I did see 152 movies last year.
It's nuts.
Well, no, but you got to remember, I saw some movies twice, so
still nuts. Still counts. I mean, it's still like
it does count. I mean, it
doesn't
counts,
matter.
But it's like I didn't see 152 new movies,
right? But
you know.
I didn't say that. I said you saw 152 movies.
Yeah, I sent you my Letterboxd thing because I thought you might want to see that Philip Seymour Hoffman is my most watched actor. I mean, I did rewatch all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies, so that helped. But
none of that would have been a surprise to me.
Yeah, that's a good actor to have as your like number one actor. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm doing something right.
You're in good hands.
Yeah. So Josh Safdie, Ronald Brownstein co-wrote this. Josh Safdie directed it, and they edited it, or he edited the movie as well. Like him and Benny Safdie have edited movies before, so that doesn't happen very often. You got Steven Soderbergh and these guys and the Coens and
who edit their own films.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about that for a split second.
Sean Baker.
There you go.
Yep, Sean Baker,
and won an Oscar for it.
He did. I mean, deservedly so. It's a very well edited movie.
Please, I can't wait for 10 years because everybody's kind of like on this bagging on a thing. It wasn't as good, and she's this and she's that. I'm 10 years. Call me. Until then.
Yeah. No, it's good. So were you excited about this movie, or did you like? I mean, it's a ping pong movie. That's essentially what the lead line is. It's a movie about a guy in the 50s, who's a good ping pong player. But this movie is way more than that. So
it's a Hustlers movie. It's Hustler Supreme. That's what I kept saying as I was driving home. Hustler Supreme.
Yes.
Yes. Was I excited? Yes. Timothée Chalamet never fails. Never fails. It's his year. I was looking forward to this. I'm a Safdie Brothers fan. I like the first two films, although calm down. So it was nice to have some slower moments in this one. I
just rewatched a couple days ago. Yeah, a couple days ago, I rewatched Marty Supreme in the theater because I saw it like a while ago or last week or whatever. But I rewatched it, and then I came home and watched Uncut Gems. So
they have an energy about them, which I think is really conducive to the films they want to make. But it's going to be fun for him to go and direct a 2-person play on Broadway or something so outside his wheelhouse. Because I think actually, okay, first of all, let's start with I loved it. I thought it was a roller coaster ride, and I loved it. The performances are stunning. He is amazing, Timothée Chalamet. I believe he will win the Oscar. If he does, he will deserve it. We're going to have to go a little slowly with these last 5-minute scenes with Timothée Chalamet in the future, though. Slow down, people. we can't wait till we're getting ready to walk out of the theater to like have a cathartic moment every time. Call Me by Your Name, a la Marty Supreme. And man, does he ever. Luckily, just to jump to the ending really quick, luckily when he succeeds, that moment I get that emotion of I put my best foot forward. I knew I could do it and I did it. And he plays it so well. So yes, I was extremely excited about this film. I will say this to start with. I think the best things about this film are also some of the most challenging things about this film. The strengths of this film also are its weaknesses, and we can talk about that later on, because I'm not conflicted about it. I just have some well, it's a Safdie brother, so the pacing is a bit much for me.
And that's what I was wondering, how he was good, because after watching The Smashing Machine, you know, like The Smashing Machine is very purposefully paced, and it's not a bad thing necessarily, but this movie I was expecting a very similar kind of, like, it's Rocky, right? It's gonna be like Rocky. This is a sports movie. We're gonna kind of like hit the beats and we're gonna move on, but this movie is not that. This movie is way more, and every turn, every corner is another, just, it expands out. It's just kind of like a tree with branches, and you just keep getting, you know, this branch you think is the end, but no, there's another branch.
And it's going down, and it's going through the cement of your foundation of your house, and then they're repairing that, and then it's branching underneath your basement. Yeah. And that's a really good metaphor.
Metaphor, sure. Yeah. I mean, but I think that's the part that I started keying into. And then, of course, after watching it a second time, like, you know, they do a really good job of laying the breadcrumbs throughout the movie of, like, oh, this is going to come back later. Like, you may think not, but, you know, look, there's a dog. Okay, great. This dog needs to be washed. Okay, who cares? Well, that dog's going to come back later, you know. Oh, you took off the dog's collar. Like, okay, great. Well, that's going to come back later. I mean, there's all of this stuff that, you know, these decisions that he's making and the way that he's interacting with everyone he comes across, like, it informs you of the character, but it also it propels him forward and propels the story forward. A lot of times not in a good way, you know, but, you know, sometimes in a good way, I guess. But there were a couple things that I was just kind of like, you're right, it's a hustler movie, but, like, he's hustling in multiple ways. Like, he's hustling people, he's hustling. I mean, the scene with him and Tyler, the Creator, who was amazing in this movie.
Great. I was so mad. I was like, you cannot be that good.
Yeah, just like right off the bus. He's like, oh, hey, you want me to act in a movie? Sure, okay.
Makes me get loud. How dare you? I was like, when I realized who it was, I was like,
yeah. No, he's great.
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
The hustling scene that they do there is kind of like, that's what I was expecting. Like, that's a sports movie. You know, like, that's what I was expecting out of this movie. And we got that scene.
At the pool hall?
Yeah, at the pool, or at the bowling alley.
Bowling alley, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, that's, you know, they've done this before. You don't really know how it's going to play out. Why does he have, you know, bloody things shoved up his nose? What's going, you know, that, I loved all that. And, like, once this movie started, and once I started figuring out, like, once Timothée Chalamet, like, falls through a floor in a bathtub, I was like, well, I don't know what to expect. I can't expect anything out of this movie now. Like, I just have to be along for the ride. And so my kind of like, oh, this is a sports movie, went out the window. But it brings you back into that, like, multiple times. I mean, you were talking about the end. We're not going to really necessarily spoil anything, I don't think, but you talked about the end. There is a pivotal table tennis match at the end. So you get that kind of catharsis, you get that kind of payoff in this movie, but then there's all these other scenes that also help to inform the character, and also just give you a bigger picture of the journey, of his journey, you know, and where he's at in the journey, which I think a lot of the heat that this movie's been getting online, from what I've seen, thinks that the end of the movie is the end of the journey. But they're totally missing the end of this movie, in my opinion. Like, it's not. So, sure, if you were going to say that, like, yes, the end of this movie is the end of that character's journey, well, maybe you have a leg to stand on, but it's not. Like, I don't know. But we'll get into spoilers later, I guess.
He sets that in motion in the very beginning of the film with the title sequence. It's the beginning of the beginning. When that all happens. And let me say something about the dog. Let me say something about the hustle at the bowling alley. Let me say something about the ending, without giving anything away just yet, because you know me. none of that plays out the way you think it is. It's all very cliche on some level. The hustle inside the pool hall bowling alley, but it doesn't. It lasts longer than you're expecting it, and you're like, "Where is the hustle? Is this what's happening here?" It's not like any other hustle I've seen in a film. It's a lot like all of them, but this one's different. Same with the ending, because you're thinking, "Oh, I need that." Well, Rocky loses, so that's not a good comparison. But
but like Color of Money, that kind of stuff, or The Hustler. I mean, both of those movies, like that's how you set up a hustle. You got to lose first. You got to make people think. That you're
it lasted a lot long. It lasted a lot longer, and it was much more complex than those scenes normally are. You're usually already that they're hustling, but there's a moment in that scene that I forgot they were hustling, and I forgot they kind of knew each other. I mean, because it's a long. Well, it's not that I forgot they knew each other. I just.
But you're saying like it's
yeah.
You kind of like, oh wait, we're just watching people play table tennis.
And I was like, what? I'm confused. How are they hustling? Are they not hustling? Are they setting each other up? What's happening here? And then when it all plays out, I was like, clever, Safdie, brother, clever, very well done. Same with the end. You're expecting something like the end to happen, but it doesn't happen exactly how you think it's going to happen. It happens, but it's different.
Yeah. And I think that was what I loved the most about this, is that it's like a bunch of movies all shoved together, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
You know, and it definitely moves between them. You know, we've got relationships, we've got mother, son, we've got, other family type things. We've got living in a city. We've got strained friendships / other relationships. He doesn't reveal that the two lovebirds at the beginning of the movie are actually, cheating, she's cheating on her husband. He doesn't reveal that.
No.
Doesn't reveal any of that. And then of course, like the the needle drops in this movie are just amazing. Like the first one being the Forever Young song when it goes into the title sequence, very similar to the Uncut Gems, flying through an ecosystem that you don't expect as an ecosystem. Like we don't really see that. We don't really see that angle of, a sperm finding an egg.
We've seen it though. We've seen
it before, but I guess where I was going with that is that it's so tongue in cheek that the tongue is poking out of the cheek. It is
absolutely
forever young. I want to be forever young, and they're like, okay, well now you're about to have a baby. So that whole thing is very well done, and then of course the needle drop at the end of the movie too is just.
Well, and the needle drop,
but
the needle drop at the beginning of the film with Change by the Tears for Fears from the 1983 album The Hurting, which was a little. I love that album. First of all, that's where Mad World comes from. That's why I was singing it free. And I
didn't know that. I guess I just know
the cover version,
Donnie Darko cover. Yes.
Yeah. The 1983 The Hurting. That's a great album. First of all, it's very synth pop-ish, and
all these songs were all new wave. I mean,
which I thought was interesting because all of a sudden you're like. Then you hear the computer or the keyboard and the synthesizer, and I'm like, oh, I love this song. And 1951, I was like, wait, what? Oh, this is going to be Quentin Tarantino rapping in the middle of Germany. Like it's not going to be your traditional thing. The song and the lyrics are what matters. The time frame when the song came out doesn't matter. So the needle drops are great.
Well, and it's also like it's a propulsive type thing, and the score adds into that. And that's the Daniel Lopatin, who did the Uncut Gems score and also Good Time, and he's scored a few other movies. But he's also a musical artist, and he does a lot of the music for The Weeknd too, who's also in Uncut Gems. And so the Uncut Gem score is amazing, and this score is this score may be better than the Uncut Gem score, and that's hard. That is hard, but this score is so good. I mean, he's synth heavy as well, but it's that I love that juxtaposition. Just because it's the 50s doesn't mean you have to play Mr. Sandman. Like we don't need that. Like. that's too easy. So yeah, put a stumbling block in front of yourself and say that you're not going to do that. Now what are you going to do? And find something that works, and it does work.
Yeah, because it sets an atmosphere and it sets an idea of what you're supposed to be watching versus, or what you're feeling about what you're watching versus the cliche whatever. Because he is out of step, he is out of time. He is a character that does not fit into his time frame, and it sure, there's very confident young New York guys in movies all the time. But this one, it's almost like he is a savant when it comes to his confidence. He hasn't proved anything to you as an audience member. So when he's that confident, you're like, what's going on here?
But I mean, that's perfect because, his scene with Gwyneth Paltrow in the hotel, which we haven't even talked about her yet. She's great.
She's amazing.
She has like 4 scenes, but
she's amazing. Don't be surprised if she's a surprise Oscar nomination
for supporting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
There's not one moment she doesn't get right. Not one moment. That moment when she takes the stage and her back is turned to the audience and she hears them. That's why you have an Oscar.
So how hard is it to play, would it be to play someone? Have you ever had to play an actor in a play?
No.
Okay. How hard do you think it would be to play an actor? And then it's that whole like a Brit, somebody who's like, there's a scene in one of the episodes of House where Hugh Laurie, who famously has an American accent in that movie, is like trying to call somebody and be different people, a la, Mrs. Doubtfire, trying to call with all these different voices. One of the voices that he uses is a British accent. And it's like, he's not using his accent. He's using what he thinks an American person would do. Like, that is hard.
I think so.
So Gwyneth Paltrow is playing an actress who is past her prime as far as Hollywood is concerned, and who is trying to do something else, trying to do something more, and trying to get back into her craft after a long time. And she's trying to, she hasn't been in a movie that's not a Marvel movie for 15 years or 12 years or
She's
something.
done TV though.
Well, okay. All right.
She's done a couple of Ryan Murphy things. Yeah.
Okay.
She's been working nonstop. Everybody thinks she's disappeared, but she hasn't. It's that she's so great in this that people are like, oh,
her. Yeah. Okay.
Oscar winner, not Goop winner.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Good for her though. I don't care about any of that stuff.
But that being said, like I'm wondering like the level of difficulty being, how do you make that new and different? How do you make that something else that do you think people are just going to assume that that's Gwyneth Paltrow? Or
Well, let's start with the fact that people have been bagging on her since she won the Oscar and been hating on her just to hate on her. And that's fine. But I don't know her, so why would I hate her? All I know is what she's given me on film. And what she's given me on film, sure, I've seen some interviews. Sure, I've seen some things behind the scenes. Sure, I've heard about her and Chris Martin and her kids and Apple and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I have met and worked with people who are not nice people, but they are brilliant. And I'm not excusing their behavior, and I'm not saying they're right for their behavior, but that's not what mattered at that time. What matters is what she delivers on screen at this time. And to go back to what is it like what would it feel like to play an act? Because it's kind of meta is what you're saying. What she's going through. Meta. Sure, it is, but it's not, because she's been working nonstop since she won the Oscar. You just don't realize it. Okay, so first of all, it's not a matter of playing an actress who's past her prime in Hollywood. It's a matter of playing intentions. That's me. What do I want from the other person in the scene? How she does it, I have no idea. But we've talked about this before. Remember I talked about Jennifer Grey in Dirty Dancing? When you see that sequence of her trying to learn the dance, she already knows the dance. Yeah. She's already rehearsed and learned the dance. It's not like they're going to take 6 weeks of stop filming so she can go ahead and learn it, she has to pretend as if she doesn't know the dance, and she's not as good at it as she eventually proves to be in that film. So when you see her on the bridge and she's trying to dance and she can't get the move right and everything like that, first of all, I love that. I do. I love that. My mom and I used to watch that movie all the time together. And as if the lift at the end was not going to happen, but then when it happened, we were like, oh, it happened again.
They did it.
They did it. We love them. But she has to act as if she doesn't know the dance, but yet she already knows the dance. So that's difficult. So I think you have to play the moment, the intention, and the scene, and not worry about all that other stuff. Because if Gwyneth Paltrow worried about what people said about her being an aging actress in Hollywood and coming back and doing an aging actress part, she would probably not do it. It would drive her so crazy. So what she did is she went in and she did her job. And she is superb. That scene when she's first walking through the hotel lobby and she sees him for the first time in the restaurant, that it's such a brief moment, but you can recognize right then and there that he's interested and that she's intrigued, even though that's a kid to her, you know? And then the scene where he's paying for dinner for her table, her husband's table, and the husband's at the table talking to him, and he leans back and looks at her. Man, that's an Academy Award winning look right there. That look he gives her and that look that she gives him, that it's almost like she's shy but too sophisticated to bother with something like this, but actually she never breaks focus from him at all.
Yeah. I felt like she was kind of like, I'm clocking you. Like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely she was. And I think she was clocking him because she liked it. And because that look he gives, it's intense. It's like I am the sum total of my parts. I'm not the part you're seeing when I first called you. I'm not that kid that you think I am. I'm this person, and look at me. And he grows like 10 years in that scene. Like in that.
And I think the apple is the start of that. Him throwing that apple into the bowl.
I love it. I just saw that clip on something online again, and she's on the phone most of that clip until that. She's pitch perfect. She's absolutely pitch perfect. I am so happy for her because she is talented. And so at the end of when I was thinking about doing the podcast and thinking about the film, I am almost more interested in her story and her backstory and how she got where she was, how she got to marry that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big Shark Tank guy to begin with, and I'm not a big
I've never seen it.
Yeah, well, that's good then, because you wouldn't have been influenced by it. We can bring him up in just a second. But anyway, the fact that she's in 4 or 5 scenes, if that many, the fact that she has to do the things that she has to do, like in the park and all that other stuff, and she just handles it. And bravo to the Safdie brother, too. That last scene with Gwyneth Paltrow that you see, he comes up to the hotel and they open the door and she's on the bed and she's having a crying fit. You're not exactly sure why. I'm pretty sure it's because she got bad reviews, that kind of stuff.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. He just glimpses it and then shuts the door. The director decided not to focus directly on this melodramatic moment.
Yes.
It's just a glimpse, it. And that, she does with her voice because she's losing her breath because she's crying. It's devastating. I loved it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Good acting just makes me go, I don't understand it, but I see it. I see you. And she should be super proud of what she did in this movie.
Yeah.
Super proud.
That was an amazing, I don't even want to say tangent. That was an amazing section talking about her. But we started that section. I brought up the scene with her and Timothée Chalamet in the hotel, and he was talking about his overconfidence. It's so great because he is simultaneously ignorant, and he's exactly the right amount of confident, but he's putting his confidence like I don't want to say the wrong place, but he's doing something that is gonna ultimately be a downfall for him in this table tennis world. And so that's the part that, you know, he's not even realizing what he's saying. There's some lines in there that are great where, you know, he says like, well, I don't accept any help from anybody. And then she's like, well, but what do you do for a job? Well, I don't have a job. You know, like, where are you going to go? Oh, well, you know, what are you going to eat? I'm going to essentially charge it to the room, which you're paying for, you know? So like, he's accepting help left and right, and he's grifting people left and right. And when he's not hustling at the table tennis table, he is hustling people, and he's manipulating people, and he's saying what he thinks. Like the Dion character is a perfect example. And that's, I mean, there's multiple people in this movie that are either have been plucked out of, you know, obscurity, or have, you know, very few roles, or this is the first time they've ever acted, you know, that kind of a thing. So that Dion character is a good example. That character is played by Luke Manley. He did really well. That was the orange ball.
Yes.
The orange ball guy.
Yes.
You know, and he, you know, he was all about it and, you know, trying to help him out. But then, of course, he gets taken advantage of. You know, his generosity gets taken advantage of, and he is put in a tough position. But you know, he's one of a bajillion. You know, Wally the creator character gets taken advantage of. Everybody gets taken advantage of, you know, that is in his orbit. And so it's not I think people are kind of, it seems like the people who are criticizing this movie are trying to like say, this isn't a good guy. Why should we be rooting for him? And it's like,
that's a silly reason to not.
But you're following this character, and Uncut Gems is the same way. You're following this character, and that is inherently what a story does. The story puts you in this person's situation, or, you know, has you follow them, but you don't necessarily have to think that everything they do is good or right. So I just don't.
That's silliness. I just thought of 3 right off the top of my head: Hannibal Lecter, Denzel Washington in Training Day. Tons of people.
Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver.
I was just going there because there's a list of Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio in Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, there is a list. Here's what I think that statement is about. Why would we want to watch a movie? This is not a good guy. No, it's Timothée Chalamet playing not a good guy, and you're not exactly aligned with QT Batute Timothée, because he is such a light, and he is such a movie star, and what has he been in that's been controversial? Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot. And he's also been like joking, they've spent more money on the advertising of this movie, on the publicity of this movie. A24 spent more money on this than any other movie.
It's going to pay off for them. It's going to be a Best Picture nomination. It's going to be a Best Director. Yeah, 100%.
I think it will. But his attitude for all of the viral marketing and all that stuff that they've done, it's been funny. Like, it's been kind of like off the wall. It's been, you know, there's an orange blimp in LA. You know, it's all of this stuff. And that's the other part that I just absolutely loved, is that like the movie spends all this time on the orange ping pong ball, and then Josh Safdie just literally throws it out the window. And he's like,
I loved it. I loved it. I love the fact that it was a wide shot, and most directors, I believe, would pan in, so you would see the individuals' balls flying, but they come flying out, they land, and that's it. Yeah. Yep. Clever.
It's an afterthought. Those
smart.
are an afterthought. And you know what I also noticed the second time is at the end of the movie, that last match between Endo and Marty, both of them are wearing white shirts.
Oh yeah.
And they're playing with a white ball. So
yeah.
It doesn't, I mean,
no.
It's a thing that just, if you watch the trailer once, you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be something that's really important in the movie. You know, the posters have an orange Marty Supreme ball on them. You know, all this stuff doesn't matter.
Right, but that's a metaphor for his life too, because that's how he treats everybody, and everybody.
It's also a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're disposable, and also people get done with him, and they dispose him. You know, the mother tries to. The mother can't because it's the mother. The friend is trying to convince her. Everybody's trying to convince her that he's a pain. The cops, when he comes to arrest him,
he's doing a favor for his friend. But
sure. But actually, I'm on his side. I'm on Marty's side about that. Pay the man his money that you owed him, and then you lied to him about it, and then you went somewhere and you weren't there. That
made
bugs me.
No sense to me. Like, hey, well, of course he was working for money. Like, I don't. Did he not? I mean, did the boss just didn't want him to leave? That's it. Like, you know, his uncle, you know, was trying to do something good for his sister to keep his nephew in New York and to get him to like stop thinking about all these pipe dreams of being a great table tennis player. But he was a good table tennis player. I mean, that was indisputable, but it goes back to like you've got all these dreams, but it's not gonna pan out to anything. You know, that was to me and usually I think in a movie where the main character has people saying like, you know what, this isn't gonna, let's get into spoilers, I guess. In a movie where they're like, you know what, don't worry about it. Don't go to LA and be an actor. Don't go to Nashville and be a country music singer. Like, don't, because it's because the chance of you making it is so small. In a movie, they're gonna do it. It's gonna, you're gonna win that golf championship. You're going to, all of this stuff is gonna happen because it's a movie and you're gonna see it. Now, Rocky is an exception, but really this movie is about wasted opportunities. It's about, finding, starting to find purpose in your life, which is what the end is. I mean, in my opinion,
and technically speaking, it ends like Rocky does, actually, if you think about it for a split second, because Rocky is about the accomplishment of what he did and the love that he finds and the willpower it took to get there, not becoming first place, not taking the prize, has more validity in Rocky. And this does too. Does too.
That's true. He's proving. See, that's the other thing. And then I didn't really, it didn't sink in the first time that I saw the movie, but after watching it a second time, the scene where the Shark Tank guy comes to him, he's in between points, and the Shark Tank guy comes around the back and says like, hey, just by the way, I don't know how you're going to get back to the United States because you're not getting on my plane. And then he's like, whatever, I don't care. And then he does that whole like, I was born in 1604. I'm a vampire.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So after seeing it a second time, like it's not real, obviously. He's not a real vampire. But what he's saying is that like, you're the gum on the bottom of my shoe. I see 10 of you a day. Like you don't mean anything, and the people that survive all of this are the ones that shut up and get in line. And so, yes. And so now, he's saying like, you don't know how to play the game. And I think that Marty, when he wins that game with Indo and he's proving to himself that he can beat Indo, it means nothing to anybody else.
Yeah. Which is the best win of all.
Yeah.
Because it's not about, because he's already knows he's not in the tournament.
Yes.
He's been told clearly he's not in the tournament. By the way, it's Kevin O'Leary and Shark Tank guy. Yeah, you're right. And his character's Milton Rockwell. Now
that does sound like somebody who owns a large company.
Yeah. But it's not about that for Marty. And it's about saying to himself, I can beat this guy. And then he loses horribly earlier on in the film to the guy, right? Yeah. He loses horribly to the guy. And you're like, wait, so is this a film about a guy who puts his money where his mouth is, but cashes out because he can't afford it? Or is this a put your money where your mouth is and going to succeed movie? Because that scene right there tricked me into believing, oh, maybe he doesn't have the goods. Maybe he is only a second bracket winner.
But he crushed everybody else, though.
Yeah,
even the champion, even the British Open champion, who happens to be one of his good friends. But
yeah, he did. Yeah, they're great together too.
They are. Yeah,
they are
it's good
great
back
together.
and forth.
Yeah, they're great
that
together.
Scene at that table scene where they're talking is good.
Really good. Really good. Everybody's really good in this.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe it's like the difference between, being really great at regional theater and then getting a chance to go to Broadway and you don't do so well. Maybe some people just have talent or just have the need to do something, but they're only supposed to do it at this level. And that's okay. I mean, there's nothing, as long as you're good at the level that you're are great at, then you should. I think that's a good life lesson too, because sometimes maybe you don't have the talent to be on Broadway or whatever that word is.
But you keep saying talent. I mean, isn't there a?
Yeah, you're right. That's a bad word.
Isn't there a phrase? Success is when opportunity meets preparation.
Yes.
I mean, so that right there, you have to have both of those things.
Yes.
So, you have to have, you still have to have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's how I look at it. So the last play that I did, which you came and saw, all the words I had to say, and there were a lot. And when we were having lunch,
Susan Sontag.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Herodotus, Cicero, Plutarch, all of which I looked up, but yeah, whatever. And doing it and actually having someone like you, who I appreciate how well read you are and how articulate you are, and you have a great vocabulary, really great, extensive vocabulary. And so when I was saying to you at brunch, oh, wow, that was, all those words, and you were like, and you didn't mispronounce one of them. And I was like, yes, that's what I live in. That's what I live in. And, I did just recently think of a better way to play that moment, by the way, but that's an actor's thing.
Yeah.
So maybe he's not at a certain level, or maybe he's thinking he's at a certain level. And I love the fact that, the ending, it subverts what your expectations are, because he is at that level. He could win. He did win, but not in the way that we thought he could, not in the way that we think he could or should win. He won anyway. And I love the fact that you see all the Army guys. I'm not sure what the military branch that's cheering them on.
Yeah.
Are they Navy?
Well, you know what? They had, they might've been Marines, but,
sorry guys.
They had gray, not gray.
Beige.
I'm sorry. They had beige.
Yeah. So sorry. My brother would be flipping out.
Yeah. I don't think that's, it could be Navy, I guess, because Marines are technically part of the Navy, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so once again, the movie, you're thinking that's just an American section of this competition who are deployed in this other country. So they go to see this American do what he can do. But it's really significant because they're the people who get him home when he's told, you're not getting on my plane. He's told, you're not playing the game, so you're not getting a ride home, which is really crappy.
Well, it's fine. But the big thing about that scene for me was that this whole movie, he's essentially been running away from responsibility, and that's the first time that he's running towards responsibility.
And then they smack you around at the end.
That's a good way to end the movie. I mean, it really is a good way to end the movie.
I think so too. So too.
But I think that, and it's also the first time that he ever says "I love you" to her. His baby mama, I guess, who maybe they'll get together, is Odessa Azion. Is that how you say your name?
I'm guessing. Do you remember me talking about her? Probably you don't.
No.
Hellraiser 2022, and I kept talking about the actress in that. The actress in that. I can't even remember what context it came up in. Well, that's her.
Wow.
And so, she is in line for an Oscar nomination for this. If she gets it, I think it'll be great. If she doesn't get it, I'll perfectly understand that too, one way or another. But she shines. Something about her shines. And believe it or not, she is particularly good in the Hellraiser film, which I found disturbing.
Wow.
The modernized kind of 2022 version.
Yeah.
But she was somebody to look at. Like, she just pops, and she's traditionally,
her eyes are really, really beautiful.
Yeah. And she looks like she fits that time frame and that world and that whole brutalized New York street thing she's got down, and she's got the hustler down too, although she kind of doesn't, but she does. I loved her.
I don't know where what I was listening to or what I was reading, but they were kind of talking about how I guess she may think of herself, or she may have thought of herself as kind of like an actress, and she sees like not the actress, the character.
Yeah.
And how she sees how the Marty character just kind of like fake it till you make it, essentially, type thing, and does that in ping pong, and does that in all the other things in his life. And so that's kind of what she did. You know, she like shot her shot and put the eye black on her eye and went for it, you know, and it didn't pay off for her, but you know, if she went for it. So, I mean those scenes with him and her, she's a good foil for the Marty character, especially when they go to get the dog, and we get to see Penn Jillette a couple times. I did not recognize him. I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, oh, Penn Jillette's in this movie. But then I didn't recognize him until I was like, oh my gosh, that's Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller.
What is happening in this universe that what is happening?
Do this. The Safdies do this.
Yeah.
They pull people who don't normally act.
He really did it this time. Going back to Milton's character, Kevin O'Leary, I had no problem with what he did, none at all. And I'm going to backtrack to come forward. I had no problem, but I kept thinking afterwards, and it might be because I have seen Shark Tank and I do know him as a personality, and he's not politically aligned with me. And I try to separate all of those things when it comes to this stuff, because like I said, I've worked with a lot of people I've loved, and the majority of people I've worked with have been great, but there have been one or two that have been like, never again. But you do what you got to do. So if they were an audition, you do what you can do. So I don't really think about them as people. I think about them as what they're doing when they're auditioning or acting, or what their choices are. Who they are as people don't matter to me, because I don't know him. I don't know the guy from Shark Tank. I don't know anything about him. But I did keep thinking to myself a couple of days later, after I was continuously thinking about this film, what it would have been like for somebody like Robert De Niro to be in that role, or somebody who was more of a character actor. Would it have been more nuanced? Would it have been different? He obviously got his point across. He did very well. I don't know if he's ever acted before. I'm not criticizing. Yeah, I'm not criticizing.
Isn't he a jerk though? Like on Shark Tank? I mean, isn't he kind of like?
You know, much kind of fill in the blanks about everything. But I don't like
cut and dried.
Yeah,
he's like
they call him something like Mr. Hollywood or something. They call him Mr. Great. He's got a nickname, not Mr. Hollywood or Mr. something.
So that being said, the fact that's like, he probably didn't have to act very much.
Sure. Well, sometimes playing something closer to who you are or your personality is kind of harder.
But I think that both of the Safdie brothers, and it seems like Josh Safdie especially, because I have listened to a couple of his interviews, like he's like just repelled by falseness, by artifice.
Yeah.
And so I'm guessing that, you know, if you work with a certain type of actor, you're going to get that a lot.
Sure.
And so he's weeding that out way from the beginning to where he only either works with actors who can really embody a character, or people who do it every day.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whether it's putting shoes on people or, you know, being the owner of a company.
Like I said, it did not influence. I think he did the job that he was hired to do. I just kept thinking to myself, I'm wondering what it would have been. I mean, you can't ever know the difference, because if it was a known actor in that role, and all the other ones are known actors with the exception of a few, because the husband of Odessa Zion is the kid from Brooklyn. Remember that kid?
Oh,
and I
really?
said I like that guy, and he's
That's cool.
You know who else he is? He's in the that movie Rebel Ridge. He's the bearded sheriff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like that kid. I'm glad for him. I'm
there
glad
you
for
go.
him. So they're all actors to a degree.
Now one of them who's not an actor is David Mamet, who played the theater director.
It was weird. It was weird.
You could tell that he was like, everybody else was an actor on that stage and he wasn't. So
it was weird.
Yeah.
That's like seeing David Lynch in a Spielberg movie. It's like makes sense, but it's also kind of weird. But cool. My point to all of that is that they got the performance they needed to get out of him. I just kept thinking to myself, what nuances would be different for an actor? Obviously not the nuances that he wanted or needed, because he cast him, and he is not an insignificant player in this movie. He has a big part in this movie. He makes a couple of choices that Marty would not continue on as a character if he didn't make the choices that he made.
Getting on that plane.
Getting on and coming over to him. Who are you? Who are you? Why? He says, why? Why are you buying my dinner? Why? So, I just, for some reason, it just stuck in my head. It means absolutely nothing to the movie, in my opinion. Still, it would have been fun. Like, I had no idea that was Penn. None. Yeah. And then when I looked back on it and realized who it was, I just saw something online. I go, no, it wasn't. Please tell me that's wrong. And I looked and I go, well, there you go. That guy's in alignment for some kind of big award coming up, because not necessarily for this part, but he was simultaneously scary, frightening, justified, complete. I knew how that all was going to play out. Like, I knew there's that split second before the ba-boom, and I knew it was coming. I went like this. Because I knew,
you know it's gonna happen.
The rest of the audience didn't. They jumped. I was like, I was ready for it. I knew it.
Well, that scene right there was a couple things that I thought was interesting. So Abel Ferrara plays the guy who owns the dog, and he's a director. So, I mean, he did like Bad Lieutenant. He's done a bunch of movies. And so I don't know if he acts very much or at all, but I thought that he had that kind of like realism to him. Like
nuance too.
Yeah. No nonsense, type of a thing. And his henchman or whatever next to him, I knew I'd recognized him from something. And I was watching Uncut Gems afterwards, and he's in Uncut Gems as like a guy who I don't know, you've got my watch or whatever, it's like, give me my watch back, or, so like my necklace or something. I mean, he's one of those guys, and it's just like, they're just right off the street, but you can tell that they're like that they've lived some kind of a life, and they're bringing all that to it. But that scene where his girlfriend says, "Go get the money," and he goes and gets the money from Abel Ferrara's pocket, and then he realizes that it's just it's like 220s and nothing else. He's looking through those pictures. Did you notice? I noticed this the second time watching it. He like looks through one of the pictures and like looks at one of them for like a long time. Oh, yeah. Like, that's hilarious. Yeah. It's just like the Josh Safdie like takes the time to be like, wouldn't that be funny if there's like one of these that he's like, I didn't even know you could do that, like, but then there's like murder all around him, and he's like, well, and he
should not be there because of the reason why he's able to get those from that guy's pocket. Yes, because that guy's obviously a good shot through a door or a wall, so you better run. I kept saying, look at him later, put him in your pocket and run. Then,
the biggest thing about that scene is that when he gets back in the car and she's like, did you get the money? Instead of him being like, there was no money. And he's already got a way to go to Japan. Like, right. He does not need her help. He does not need any of this. This is a distraction for him. And in the past, like, his previous actions in this movie would have been him saying, this is all a problem. Like, none of this is helping. So he did that earlier when she tried, and when she called on the phone, and he's like, I'm wasting my time here. Yeah. That was the scene. His character, with no moving forward, with no advancement, would have done that same exact thing again. But instead he says, I got it. It's a lot of money. There's so much money. Now I can go to Japan. Thank you so much. Now she says, I love you. He doesn't say I love you, but that's the first time in the movie that we've seen him, when he's not hustling somebody, not be brutally honest and do something because he cares for someone else. It's the first time. And that's before his match and all that stuff. And before he realizes he's not going to be, at that point, he thinks that he's going to be the champion, the table tennis champion of the world, you know?
Yeah. But that scene also indicates to us that she's the one. So when the ending happens, because listen to what he calls her. He never calls her anything. Then he says, she's my sister.
Yeah.
And then later on, he says, I'm the father.
Which was hilarious because the Dion character's like, what?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Crazy. But so good.
No, it is good.
Well, I do want to say there was this feeling of maybe some of the stuff is too much. Maybe the kinetic energy is too much. Now, we talked about that earlier. I thought some of it was, I was trying to think if the whole dog thing was taken out of the film, we wouldn't have needed it because it's just yet another hustle. What does it now? Granted, we just talked about how that does show that he does love her and so forth and so on.
Yep.
But if you take those scenes out of there, the whole dog sequence, everything, the shootout is great. But there does seem to be, and you had said it earlier, that there's a bunch of mini movies all into one. And so I was thinking, well, what's the purpose of this movie? Like we've talked about this before. What are we going to, I live in Virginia, you live in North Carolina. What are two guys who go to the movies on a regular basis? What's the meaning behind this? What is going to be the universal themes that made us go, oh, not necessarily relate to a character, but why are we watching this film? What is the universal? Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Be careful about lying, because whatever the universal themes are. And there are a lot of themes in this film. Sometimes it's a bit disjointed because he adds so much in there that it's kind of hard to continue to follow through, because it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And which I didn't have a problem with the length of it by any means. But I kept thinking, well, why is that scene in there? And then I stopped myself and I went, you didn't think about it in the moment. You weren't worried about it in the moment. You just felt something. Maybe on second view, all of that will be connected. Now you're trying to decipher what you felt. Don't do that. Just ride the roller coaster ride and it will all pay off. And it does.
Yeah. Do you like Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Never seen it.
Okay.
Never seen it.
Seinfeld, have you ever seen any of those episodes? Okay.
Sure.
So Seinfeld's similar. Obviously, it's co-created by Larry David, but
sitcom about nothing.
Yes, there you go. And in a lot of those episodes, and I'm not a Seinfeld expert, but in a lot of those episodes, there's a very small thing that is like kicks off the whole episode, and it's minuscule. It means nothing, but they make a whole episode about it. And so this is, I mean, really, if Marty hadn't spent 5 hours at his lunch, then this whole movie wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
the whole movie wouldn't have happened. He spends 5 hours, can't get his money, $700. He holds up his, the guy there, gets the money. He comes back, he gets arrested or whatever, fake arrested. And then he runs away, runs into his girlfriend. His girlfriend's pregnant, who not from her husband. And so, he ends up running away from that. I mean, it's one thing after another, and it just keeps building. I mean, like the whole thing just builds. So that I think I'm okay with that stuff. I'm okay
I am
with
too.
But just kind of building.
And I am too. But ask yourself, if the subplot with Gwyneth Paltrow was not there, would something be missing? Now, you could know the difference because obviously if it wasn't there. But why is she in the film? What is her...
To get him to Japan?
Okay. He could very easily run into him as a multimillionaire. He doesn't have to have an affair with his stunningly beautiful middle-aged wife. There's no reason. Now, that is a trope. Younger man, older woman in films and in life. Cher's living it right now.
Well, I mean, The Graduate, all that stuff.
Yeah, all of that stuff. I was just making a joke because Cher's awesome. So
who's she going out with? I don't know.
I don't know, but he's like 50 years younger than her.
Okay, then.
No judgment. I don't care.
Wow.
Good for her. Good for him. Do it. I'm all about it.
Do they talk about Fortnite? What do they talk about?
What did Gwyneth Paltrow and Timothée Chalamet talk about?
I mean, I don't think they talked about anything.
Nakedness.
Obviously.
They talked about shower, how hot they wanted the water while they were in the shower. That's what they talked about, right?
Gotcha.
Sometimes you don't need to talk to people in order to be with people.
I gotcha.
But really, honestly, think about it. There is no need for that subplot. None. Now, because of Timothée Chalamet and Gwyneth Paltrow's nuanced performances, it makes sense that it's there. But if you were to pull it out, like if you were to just re-edit the movie for whatever reason, he could say, that millionaire guy, the Shark Tank guy, Milton, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to pay for his dinner. Doesn't need to be, he pays for the dinner for a different reason than this. He pays for the dinner to impress Gwyneth Paltrow and to kind of like sting her a little bit, because he can do what her husband can do, except for her husband doesn't look like me. You know what I mean? Like, I am me, right?
Yeah.
But if you were to take that out, you might not miss it. I'm not saying you should. I'm glad it's there on so many levels. Like I said, her subplot, I was a little more interested thought-wise after the movie than much of the movie. I was like, I wonder what her story is. I wonder, what her background is. You learn a lot about it in this small snippets of scenes that she has. But if you think about it, if you took it out.
Yeah. I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole all day.
Sure.
I mean, if you take Sensei Sergio out of One Battle After Another, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's not going to happen. Like, he's not going to get arrested. He's not.
Sure.
I mean, all he literally just needs to plug in his phone. That's it.
Yeah. No, don't even say take him out. That's not
exactly.
Even fun.
That's what I mean.
Different scenario, in my opinion.
That's what I mean.
Wasn't the sensei his daughter's teacher?
Yes.
So that's the connection.
But he went there to get weapons, and all he had was nunchucks.
Sure. Sure.
I just rewatched that movie this week too.
I can't wait to see it again.
It's on HBO Max.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it is 2 hours, 40 minutes or something. So yeah, it's a commitment. So, but it didn't bother me. I loved it. No. But so I guess you can pick at that kind of stuff and be like, well, this isn't necessary. That's not necessary. I think that the movie is better. And I'm sure you agree. The movie is better with her. The movie is better with,
by far. But let me clarify. I never said not necessary. I said, if you took it out, would you miss it? Like and once again, obviously it's a loop-de-loop thought because Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail.
Semantic.
Yeah. Ouroboros. Ouroboros? Ouroboros. I can only say it like you just said. Ouroboros. You said it so well, though. Anyway, good reference. Bad pronunciation on my part. Yeah, you could say that about a lot of things. I'm just saying, with a 2.5 hour kinetic, phonetic, crazy ass Safdie brother film, maybe some slower yet definitive things ran through my mind. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Right. The movie's better for her being in it. No doubt about it. I'm not saying the movie's better. I'm saying it's better that she is in it in general, so
well, so I did want to spend like 2 seconds on the end and how hilarious it is, and nobody else was laughing in the theater, but the end of this movie where he is bawling his eyes out, looking at his baby, and it's a perfect baby. Like, that baby was like
super cute.
It was like looking at him and then looking at the nurse, and just kind of like, I mean, great baby acting. Don't know how they got that. But, of course, you've got this lady who obviously is a saint, who's the nurse, like, walking down all these babies that are just crying, like constantly crying. And then you get that needle drop of the everybody wants to rule the world, which, of course, the first lines are welcome to your life. And so that's why he put that in there. It is. It's like, this is your life now, and you're embracing it. So, it's not the end of anything. It's the beginning of that. And it doesn't mean he's never going to play table tennis again. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. But what it means is that you're now taking responsibility, starting to take responsibility of this. But the part that I loved was that as the movie cuts to black, the crying gets louder.
Yeah.
And louder.
Yeah.
And louder.
Yeah.
And then you could barely even hear the tears for fears. And I'm just like, that is hilarious. Because it's like, that's what it is. I mean, so.
I laughed. People laughed. Yeah. People laughed. Well,
the people around me were just like, I don't know. They just weren't laughing. I don't know.
Well, okay. Well, okay. I mean, it's not like what you traditionally think is a comedic moment, but I thought to myself, well, this is clever because the movie's really not ending. His life's not ending. If this was somebody's life, his life was just starting again. And that, I have found true love and I'm going to live with my baby for the rest of my life and unconditionally love this kid and raise this kid. No.
It's not happily ever after.
No. It's the worst case scenario you possibly could imagine. Good luck getting sleep. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. Poopy diapers.
You got a lot of crying in your future.
Yeah. I thought that was
not
great.
Shying away from it. So
I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Good. Well, he's not shying away from it because he never has that come to Jesus moment in the film that you see. And obviously at the end, he realizes that this is the most important thing that he could have faced, but he accomplished what he had in his mind's eye as successful table tennis player. That he beat the top guy in the world, whether or not it was an exhibition. Best in the world. Yeah. So all of that
moment.
Yeah. So if he had lost, it would have been a different ending. It would have been like, I'm settling. I have to do this because this is my responsibility. Yeah. He chose to come back and take the responsibility, which he should have. But I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a way more darker film. And I was like, if you uncut gem me here, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be mad. And he didn't. And I think it's a better movie for it.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, you can check us out on the web at actorandengineer.com. You go to facebook.com/actorandengineer. And we're on YouTube. Just search for the Actor and the Engineer podcast. We'll see you next time.